At 11:42 p.m., a Google search was entered. How long does it take for someone to track your location from your phone? It looked ordinary, the kind of late-night question people ask out of curiosity or caution. But hours later, when she didn't show up for work, when her phone went dark, and when her apartment was found untouched, that search became something else. It was the last thing she ever looked up. And suddenly, it felt less like curiosity and more like preparation. Investigators would later ask a question that changed everything. Was she trying to understand something or trying to stay ahead of someone? Her name was Marissa Cole, 27 years old, organized and predictable. She worked as a data coordinator, a job built on tracking details and recognizing patterns. Her life followed a routine: work, gym, groceries, weekly calls with her mother. Nothing about her suggested risk, which is why her disappearance didn't make sense. On a Thursday morning, she failed to log into work. By afternoon, concern grew. A wellness check found her apartment undisturbed. Keys on the counter, bag by the door, laptop open. Only her phone was missing. That absence became critical, because while the device was gone, her data remained. And buried in it was that final search at 11:42 p.m. Her digital footprint reconstructed the night. She arrived home at 6:12 p.m., connected to Wi-Fi at 6:25, and spent the evening normally, streaming, checking emails, ordering food. At 9:03 p.m., something shifted. She searched. Can someone access your phone location without you knowing? Then, how to tell if your phone is being tracked, followed by signs someone is following you digitally. This wasn't idle curiosity. It was escalation. After a pause, the final search came at 11:42 p.m. minutes later. Her phone disconnected from Wi-Fi. By 12:08 a.m., it stopped transmitting entirely. That narrow window became the center of investigation. Friends said she wasn't paranoid. There were no known threats. But her messages revealed context. 3 weeks earlier, she had begun communicating with a contact saved only as D. At first, it seemed work-related. Over time, the tone shifted. D asked personal questions: where she lived, when she got home, whether she lived alone. Marissa grew guarded, sometimes stopping replies altogether. On the night she disappeared, D sent a message at 8:56 p.m. "Are you home?" She didn't respond. But minutes later, her search activity began. The timing was too precise to ignore. The number linked to D was prepaid and unregistered, but cell data placed it near her area repeatedly. Then investigators discovered she had installed a third-party app 2 weeks earlier. It appeared harmless, but it had full background access to her location and had been running continuously. Her searches now carried a different meaning. She wasn't asking hypothetical questions. She was reacting. She was trying to confirm whether she was already being tracked and how much time she had. A cached article on her laptop revealed a key moment. One line stood out: if tracking software is already installed, someone may know your location in real time. That line had been highlighted, marking the point where uncertainty became fear. At first, investigators believed she had been randomly targeted, but the truth was more direct. D was not a stranger. Building records showed that 2 weeks before her disappearance, a maintenance technician had entered her apartment to fix a minor issue. His name was Daniel Reyes. The same day of that visit, the tracking app was installed. The same day, messages from D began. Reyes had access, time, and knowledge of her routine. The realization was chilling. Her final search came after the message asking if she was home. She may have already suspected him. That search wasn't about prevention. It was about realization. She was confirming that someone who had been inside her home might already be tracking her. Daniel Reyes was arrested 9 days later. Cell data placed him near her apartment that night, and his vehicle was captured nearby minutes after her phone went dark. A search of his home uncovered multiple tracking applications. Marissa's phone was later recovered, powered off, and hidden. Its data confirmed everything. The app had been installed without her knowledge, and her location had been accessed repeatedly. On the night she disappeared, it had been checked multiple times in a short span. He knew she was home, knew when, and knew she was alone. Her final search was no longer just a question. It was evidence of awareness, of fear, of a moment when everything shifted. Investigators later reflected on how close she came to understanding what was happening. A single question, preserved in a digital log, told the story she could not. In the end, the case wasn't solved by a witness or confession, but by a search one simple line typed into a blank bar. Because sometimes the most important clues come not from what people say, but from what they ask. And sometimes the truth isn't hidden, it's searched for.